Top 10 Interesting Secrets About Jupiter. Today, AllThingsTop will take you on the most flowering planet, with the most moons and also the largest of the 8 planets, Jupiter. And here will be 10 interesting secrets about this giant planet. Origin of the name Jupiter. Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system. When looking through the telescope, Jupiter looks very delicate, majestic as a king. The Greeks took the name Zeus, who reigned on the supreme throne for this planet. Zeus was the ruler of the gods, ruler of Olympia, and also the god of lightning. According to the Roman language, Zeus was called Jupiter, so Jupiter was called Jupiter. Later, astronomers discovered many satellites orbiting Jupiter. Many satellites are named after girls who were charmed by the mythical god Jupiter. A giant planet, it's Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system, is a gas giant that is about 318 times the mass of Earth. Jupiter is more than 2.5 times the total mass of other planets in the solar system combined. The average radius of Jupiter is 6,911 kilometers, about 1 part 10 of the Sun's radius. However, because of its rapid rotation 9.8 hours round, Jupiter has a flattened sphere which bulges at the equator, which has a diameter of 142,894 kilometers, while the diameter over 2 poles is only 133,708 kilometers. If you go around the equator of Jupiter, you will travel more than 439,264 kilometers, that is, almost 11 times around the Earth's equator. Because Jupiter is composed largely of gas, its surface is considered homogeneous. It does not have mountains or valleys, features commonly found on rocky planets. As a gas giant, the 2 main elements that make up Jupiter are hydrogen and helium. It has a mass of 1.9 by 1,027 kilograms. Although heavier than Earth in terms of density, it is only 1/4 of Earth's 1.326 grams per centimeter because it is made of gas instead of rock. The volume of Jupiter 1,431,281,8739,360 kilometers, 121 times the volume of the Earth. The surface area of this giant planet is 6,109 by 1010 square kilometers, which is 120 times that of Earth. The structure of Jupiter is the same as that of the Sun, but it needs 75 times the current mass to have the fusion reaction of hydrogen, the fuel source of a star. The mass of the largest gas planets found outside the solar system is often compared to the mass of Jupiter. Named as a star, but not actually a star. Although we often call it Jupiter. In fact, by definition, star and planet are 2 different concepts. To make it easy to imagine, the current star closest to us is the Sun. According to the Wiki, the definition of stars is defined as follows. According to the above definition, astronomers call Jupiter a fault star. Although Jupiter is not yet very much hydrogen and helium gas, the planet's center of mass is not enough to stimulate nuclear fusion. Meanwhile, a star like the Sun will continuously take place reactions inside its center thanks to enormous pressure and temperature. It is these continuous reactions that will generate energy for the stars. To be able to produce nuclear fusion and become a star, Jupiter needs to add up to 70 times the mass in its current size. Therefore, according to the classification, this is still a gas giant planet, and it cannot be considered a star. Jupiter is the fastest rotating planet in the solar system. Jupiter only takes less than 10 hours to orbit its own axis. Its rotational velocity reaches about 12.6 kilometers per second. And because this is not a solid thing, plus its momentum is large, which leads to bulges in the equatorial part. The equatorial diameter is greater than the diameter of the 2 poles, about more than 9,000 kilometers. Because of its large overall mass, Jupiter is the only planet whose center of mass with the Sun lies outside the volume of the Sun. The time required for it to complete an orbit of its host star is 11.86 Earth years with a distance from the Sun of 778 million kilometers. With such a fast rotation velocity, Jupiter has a very strong magnetic field and also produces many dangerous radiation around the planet's surface. Clouds on Jupiter are only about 50 kilometers thick. Despite its enormous size, the clouds that enter the storm trail we observe are only about 50 kilometers thick. These clouds form from broken ammoniac crystals that form 2 clouds. The matter that we observe dark colors can be compounds from within Jupiter that emerge and react to sunlight that lead to darkness. Below the cloud layer is the weak component of Jupiter, hydrogen and helium. Large red spot. Characteristic of Jupiter. Large red spots are famous features on this planet. It is an inverse cyclone located in the southern hemisphere of Jupiter, with a diameter measured about 24,000 kilometers and an estimated altitude of about 12 to 14,000 kilometers. In theory, it is large enough to hold between 2 and 3 planets the same size as Earth. Interestingly, this storm has been around for at least 350 years. It was first observed in the 1665s of the 17th century by an astronomer, Giovanni Cassini. It was not until the early 20th century that this great red spot was theorized that a storm was created by chaos due to the speed around the axis too fast. These theories proved to be true after Voyager 1 observed close-up in March 1979. Despite this, its size was significantly reduced. According to Cassini's observations in the 17th century, it appears to be twice as large as it is now. It is not clear whether in the future it will completely disappear, but it is predicted that the same phenomenon will still appear in other regions of the planet. Jupiter also has a belt like Saturn, Omer. When it comes to the belt around the planet, people often think of Saturn. But the truth is that both Jupiter and Uranus also have their own rings. Jupiter is the third planet to be discovered because its belt is very faint and very difficult to observe. These belts divide into 3 smaller belts consisting of the segment called halo, located in the same, the main ring located in the middle, and the outer ring. The magnetic field of Jupiter is 17 times larger than Earth. If you bring the compass to Jupiter, it will work, because it is the planet with the largest magnetic field in the solar system. The interaction of the magnetosphere with the solar wind creates a dangerous radioactive belt phenomenon that can cause damage to spacecraft wanting to probe here. Jupiter has the 4 largest moons of all orbits in the magnetosphere, protecting them from the solar wind. Jupiter's magnetic field is also responsible for intense radio emissions from the polar regions of the planet. Jupiter has arrived. 67 men. Jupiter is the most flowering planet because 67 satellites orbit. However, these are only orthodox satellites and have been named. In fact, it has more than 200 natural satellites with orbits around it. The moons of Jupiter are usually less than 10 kilometers in diameter and were only discovered after 1975 when the first probe, Pioneer 10, arrived. Although there are many moons, there are 4 main ones that are most noticeable and have the common name Galilean moon due to the discovery by Galileo Galilei. Their names in order of distance to the host planet are as follows: Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. Ganymede is the largest moon in the solar system with a diameter of about 5,200 kilometers, ranking second as Saturn's moon, Titan. Humans have sent probes to Jupiter 7 times. NASA first launched Pioneer 10 in December 1973, then in December 1974 with Pioneer. It was followed by brothers Voyager 1 and 2, both of which boarded in 1979. It was then that a long time later, it was not until 1992 that Ulysses was brought here in December of that year. In 2000, the Cassini sailed here and continued its journey through Saturn. Finally, in 2007, NASA launched the New Horizons, which is the most recent discovery mission, but certainly not the last. And we will also explore this planet, as well as other long-term planets. Here are 10 interesting secrets about Jupiter that AllThingsTop has given you. Like and subscribe to the channel to learn more interesting things about the world around you. Thank you, and see you.